Guru Gobind dono khade, kake lage paay. Balihari Guru aapne, Govind diyo dikhai. This episode is a tribute to my teacher, someone who has given her ears to the service of the young students. She has given her countless hours and her heart, not just in reshaping the minds of the young children, but in reshaping their lives. Today, I welcome Sunita Saini Ma'am, who is a senior social science teacher with Kulaji Hansraj Model School and an active Rotarian to my podcast. Hello, ma'am. How are you doing?
Good. So, Swati, thanks for the lovely introduction you've given, Beta. Uh, I remained a very passionate social science as well as a history teacher. And I have a love for exploring the intricacies of human societies, culture, and today I will be sharing insights and perspectives that spark curiosity and inspire meaningful conversation. So let's get started.
Thank you, ma'am.
One more thing before you start, Swati, I just want to say I'm so proud that today my student is taking my interview and I have a little bit contribution in that, I believe. So I'm so proud of you, Bita. I'm so proud of you.
Ma'am, it is my absolute pleasure. And like you said, you have not a little bit of contribution, but lots of contribution, seeing you there and your encouragement, to me, especially for not only working on my academics, but also on all the different extracurricular stuff. That was really wonderful. I still cherish those days.
So, my pleasure.
So, ma'am, starting from your journey, when did you decide that you want to become a teacher?
I just want to tell you the truth. I never wanted to be a teacher. And I had the dream of becoming an air hostess. So
Oh,
I went for its interview, cleared the first interview. When I was about to go for second interview, my father stopped me and he said, only profession you can join is teaching. So initially I was forced into teaching, but once I got into it, then I never, look back because it was such a pleasure being with young minds, being with young children. It was not only teaching, but learning. So a lot of things has happened, and then of course, uh, I love teaching. Being with young generation, you remain young also, isn't it?
of course. And you were always like that. I mean, you were always meant to be, I think, a teacher because you were effortless, flawlessly efficient at whatever you were doing. And in those times when every other teacher used to be very, very strict, you have always been very polite. You have never, I think, raised a voice on any child. And I remember that you were very, very polite even with all the backbenchers, every student in the school.
Yeah,
And the students still respected you. They showed that respect.
that was, my aim. That you will find that an average child is normally being neglected, or a child who is below the level of learning. So normally I used to look after them well. The backbenchers used to be my favorite. In fact, I took care of the toppers like you, Swati. You were always so close to me. Your notebooks were excellent, so neat and clean, always doing your homework on time. So children like you are never forgotten. And there were children whose handwriting I've improved. So they still remind me if I happen to meet these children. So I believe that a good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and they can instill a love of learning amongst the children. That is most important. You have to create interest in that particular subject, and you have to uh, tell the children that whatever they do, however they do, they should do their best. That's what we expect them.
That's so true. And that reminds me of an instance where, we were writing our exams
Mm,
and you were on the round and you were visiting every class
mm.
where we were all writing our exams, and you were just coming in and saying so politely that don't worry, you will be able to do, to encouragement to everyone that whatever you do, you will be doing good in exams, don't worry. And it was such an encouragement to hear those positive words while taking an exam.
In fact, during exams, I used to be more worried than my students. The moment I used to see the paper, and then I used to guess, would my children be able to access it? Would my children be able to do it? Therefore, I make it a point to have a round and just instill confidence in them that they have to do. You know that, Swati, I just want to tell you, I met a student of mine recently. He's an entrepreneur, uh, Parvez Sopti. I just want to take his name, otherwise, I don't want to take anybody's name. He's the one who said that, ma'am, I was also a backbencher. You improved my writing. And he said, I always used to score maximum marks in social science rather than other subjects. So there has to be an interest to be created in a very vast, in fact, I would say, and a very tough for children to understand social science and to express themselves. If they have the dearth of expressing in English, so they had this problem. I never deducted marks for the spelling, for their expression. I just used to see that what is the child wants to convey. So therefore, my pocket used to be full of marks for the children normally. Not the best
And
one.
I mean that's important because conveying what you want to convey, what you understand is more important than just, writing it out.
Absolutely.
And that is how the education system is evolving, right? And like you mentioned, ma'am, social science, it teaches you so much about the real world that we should be aware of. But still, in today's times, also, there are student parents who just encourage their children to take up science and commerce, right? Nobody encourages the children to take social
Humanity.
science or history or geography or humanities in general in 11th or 12th. And that is such a grave problem that we are facing.
It is absolutely true. Initially, Swati, what used to happen that when the sections were being formed in most of the schools, so the children who were scoring low were given, in fact, it was not their choice. They were given humanities, and then who scored above 40%,
Mhm.
45%, they were
Mhm.
being told to go for commerce. And then
Okay.
those who scored above 60%, they were
Mhm.
given the choice of having sciences. So
Right.
I believe that aptitude is very important for a child. Like if he's keen on going for humanities, he wants to study, now you will find career making is more important for the parents. So they look into it that my child should become an engineer, a doctor, You- and they never think below that. So what is a graduate in history going to do? And how can the child is going to make his career? That was in fact the main hindrance, which I believe is no more. Now the children go with their interest, and I have taught the children who scored above 80% also in their
Okay.
12th boards, and they have opted for humanities with their own interest, political science, history. They love studying. And Swati, you need to create interest. Like I used to take them to the National Museum, okay, National Museum of History. So when they roam around, when they see those things with their own eyes, that this is where Indus Valley civilization, the madam has taught us, this is what was the modern period. So when they correlate with it, the interest is automatically created. If you go to a monument, let us say you go to a mosque, uh, say that Taj Mahal or wherever. If you don't know its background, you don't know the engineering skills, you don't know the historical background, so you
Right.
won't take any interest. Therefore, we introduce heritage walks in our school,
Wow.
right? Yes,
And
madam.
that's nice. And when we go to any other country as well, and any other state in India, we explore all these monuments, right? We love to go to different monuments of very, very famous monuments of different countries. And unless we've read about that, unless we know the culture of those countries and how the geopolitical situations are in those countries, it's difficult to, make sense of everything that is going around us. So even everyone loves traveling, but to get that content out of that travel, you need to know all these things,
Yeah.
and that's very
And you
important.
will enjoy history. Once you come
Yeah.
to know this is the place, you go to Kashmiri Gate. Kashmiri Gate used to be a Connaught Place at the time of the British. So there,
Okay.
the men used to walk and look for their beloveds, to the best girl to choose and to get married with them. So there are some very interesting facts of history which needs to be taught. And I believe that the world history should be taught to them. Besides the Indian, and we should, like you said, when you visit various parts of the world, you should know that I have studied Greek history, I have studied Romance, I know. And when you see that Colosseum, you are going to correlate it. Ma'am has taught us about it. So before anybody tells you about it, you can brief about it yourself, right, Vita?
That's very true. And visiting that Colosseum, I personally visited that Colosseum. And personally, in my year, what happened was the books changed and we could not study
Study
the world history.
contemporary.
So I still miss that, the stories about the Napoleon, the stories about the various parts of the world. I still miss that.
Absolutely true, Vita. But that's
Yeah.
what I believe, that we should have contemporary. Like all
Yeah.
the world history should be taught. But with
Yeah.
the changes in the government and their policies, you will find that the things have changed. I have been into content writing also. I've written several books. So I have found that recently I was associated with Bharatiya Shiksha Board, and I have written some chapters for the textbook of class 6, 7, 8. So there they have emphasized on the Indian history, specifically Indian history, and to break down the Mughal period and
Mm,
the Sultanate period, just to
mm,
put it in a short form. Even more about Shivaji, and more about the Pandavas and Chainas,
right.
and more about
Right.
our own country's history. The things are changing with the period of time, Beta, and as I told you, it is the government's policies which matters a lot.
That is true. So, ma'am, how do you see that, education has evolved over the years as you've taught for so many different generations you've taught, right?
Hmm, it's a good question. In fact, you'll be shocked, Swati, that those who were my students, I taught their children also. And it is really, really so nice to feel, because their parents used to come and tell them that she was our teacher, the one who is teaching you. And it was really fun, better. And over a period of time, I have seen that children are more curious, children have become more intelligent, and we, you can never be scoring 100 on 100, you know. So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
what is the percentage now in Delhi University. If you want to take admission, you need to have 100% marks. How much I score? It is the social media, now the IT, introduction of IT, so many other things which have evolved in the education system has brought a change. What kind of change? Sometimes I feel it is good. Sometimes I feel that, as you were mentioning about AI also, sometimes I feel that a teacher and a blackboard and the chalk and the connectivity between the child and the teacher is gradually losing. The child feels that he can take up lesson either in institution or online. So this teacher is insignificant for me. And believe it or not, Swati, I'm so glad that your love for me, your respect for me is appreciated so well. But I have observed that children nowadays, they can say on your face that, Madam, we are paying fees for your teaching. So this kind of, I believe, is moral. Gradually we are losing it. And we need to see that the children should not lose the respect for their teacher, right? So what we see is that teaching is not a lost art, okay? But regard for teaching is a lost tradition.
Okay. Because the digital world coming in, digital technology is coming in. Yeah,
And
yeah.
uh, during my period only, I have learned to sit on the computer, learn to take classes in the smart boards also. We were the one, I started my job in the year 1976 and worked for full 40 years. And therefore, I have seen this revolution totally where I could not even sit on computer. I don't know all the keys and all these things. So gradually, I got used to it that during the COVID period, we have taken online classes on Google.
Mm. Yeah.
So there are both Swati advantages as well as disadvantages of this IT world, you could say, right?
Yeah, and I can resonate, right? I mean, learning from a smart board compared to learning when you actually write it on a chalk. Because my children, being very, very young today, they're toddlers, and I won't like them to, just open the screen and learn from it, right? When they themselves enjoy that writing process and they learn that. That is a very, very basic thing that every child experiences when we write something. It
Mm,
stays in our mind.
mm,
And it is a way of, releasing our nervousness, our anxieties as well. When we doodle something, when we write something, we are taking out that energy, and in that way it stays with us forever. I still remember the notebooks where we used to make our notes.
no.
When we study from our notes, we always remember them more when we study from any other medium. At least for me, that was the case. Yeah.
They, with the most of the students, with most of the students, Swati, I used to tell them, once you write, like when the computers were also introduced, I used to tell them, Beta, once you are going to write and then it gets saved in your brain. Okay, it's the same thing when you type on the laptop or a computer. So you need to save it, all right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't get saved in your brain. You have to write it with your own hands to keep it in your mind to learn. Like in social sciences, there are many facts which needs to be learned. Nowadays I'm really thankful that they are not insisting on learning the dates,
Mm.
which was there, which was there. And so these are other changes which we can see today's world. You know.
Yes, ma'am, as you have worked with, DAV United for so long, how do you see DAV United as a family or as an educational group of institutions?
Uh, yes, I have worked with DAV United because my passion for my school, which was my second home. You can imagine Swati leaving the school after 40 years. Okay. So it was very tough for me to cut that umbilical cord and then, live in my own world and enjoy. Everybody used to say, "Ma'am, now that you're getting retired, you enjoy your life, you do this, you do that." I had no interest, nowhere, but to go to
Mhm.
school and teach and be with the children. And then, with DAV United, I have been in touch with almost all the DAV schools, right? And worked for them very passionately. It was good, because met all the principals and get acquainted with them, get acquainted with our students. So that was also good. But then I left it after 2, 3 years because it was very tough for me. I was writing books at that time. There were targets to complete your chapters. Therefore, I could not give much time.
So, ma'am, like you mentioned that you were writing books and you also talked about being part of NEP, right? The NEP books, the books that are coming as part of the new education policy. So, as a whole, how do you feel the new education policy, how it will change the education? And is it required or not? Because in Delhi, we still see it is not yet there.
It is not. It is not yet
Yeah.
there, but of course, it is going to create more professionals, more vocational education is coming. And I would say that the present education system is going to insist on more of the practicals than theory. And in fact, now they are going to introduce open book tests. So in open book test, the child has his own expression. Obviously, he's not going to copy the book.
Right.
But that is also
Mm-hmm.
another concept which is coming up. And as we
Mm-hmm.
could see now, I don't think so, Swati, it was at your time, that in humanities as well as in commerce also, we have internal as well as the board marks.
Okay.
Besides that, uh, we have more of the practicals in these subjects which have been introduced in the recent past. So 20 marks are allotted for that and 80 marks for the theory. So probably there is going to be more division and more practicability is going to be introduced to see the pattern of the child.
Mhm. True. So, ma'am, as you've visited multiple schools, even as panelists for different competitions, even the IB board schools. So, how do you feel the difference between a normal CBSE curriculum or ICSE or Cambridge or IB? Because as parents, we are confused, right? We don't know which school to go for. Because as you said, academics are evolving and it will keep on evolving with the technologies that are coming in, with AI coming in. But teaching the life skills, teaching the core human behavioral skills are much more important these days.
Cambridge system has also been introduced with the concept of again more practicability, more practicals in it, more expression of the child, more participation of the child. And CBSE requires to uh, not to bring that fear of examination. That needs to be removed amongst the children, right? In CBSE, that boards, your parents
Mhm.
start, I mean, there is a sword hanging on your head. Hey, you have boards, you have boards, so that sword needs to be removed. It should be
Mhm.
in a more relaxed manner. the child should also appear in a relaxed manner. And the similar system is appearing in almost all the boards I've seen. But
Yeah.
the Cambridge system, they don't have the board systematics. They have the internal
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
internal marking only. So the
Mm.
board itself brings a fear in the minds of the children. So I believe the CBSE has to work on it. That fear needs to be removed from the mind. Oh, they make
Of course.
you so afraid. वो नंबर लेके जाना है, ये भी लेके जाना है, अपने माइंड में ये रखना है. And the teachers are also all nervous standing outside your board center. And the children are also equally. So we keep wishing them good luck. So that sport needs to be removed. That's what my feeling.
No, that's very important. That fear should not be there. Children should enjoy learning, take it as a enjoyment rather than, a pressure on their heads. Because when
Absolutely.
we enjoy doing what we do, that is what makes us passionate about it.
Yes, Beta. You should go for a profession in which you enjoy. It should not be a burden. So the moment
True.
I fall into the teaching profession, I met another student. Sorry, Swati, I have so many things to tell you. That I met another student and he just told me, Madam, when you came, I was in class 3 or 4, you used to tell us such beautiful stories that we were totally engrossed in the story. So, I mean, keeping them quiet, that used to be my style. That class 2, class 3 students, and if you just narrate an interesting story to them. So he was asking me, Madam, do you tell this to your grandson also? I said, yes, I do. Ramayana and Mahabharata. So in an interesting way. So before he goes to sleep, I just tell a part of the chapter, and then he's so curious. Next night he would come to me and he will ask me, Daddy, what has happened? So before that, I asked few questions. You remember? Okay, tell me, who was his younger brother? So that the child should
Yeah.
also know, and he should also take interest in listening to the story.
Yeah, I understand. A storytelling is an art, right? And how you tell the stories, and then we always remember the stories. We don't remember the facts. We remember the stories.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Beta,
So
absolutely.
if teaching is done in the form of stories, we'll always remember that.
Once I remember that I was sitting in the class and the in charge was on a round, and the teacher was sitting like this. Somebody was like this. So the charge came inside and he started saying of the children, is your teacher teaching or is she telling you a story? Sit properly, all of you. Open your notebook. I said, no, let them listen to my topic first. Let them explain it to them. Then they will take down the notes also. Not right now. Let me explain the chapter. So, uh, story is a way of learning also. You learn faster if you teach children in the form of story. Right. So, Swati,
Yeah.
you have been taking notes, and I remember that all your notes were always complete. And really remember my toppers at least. The moment you called me, I remember my Swati. And of course, Beta, I have been trying because I've been running the Heritage Club, Road Safety Club in the school, and Interact Club. So that was one of the ways for me to create leadership qualities amongst the children. I always used to go behind and tell the children to do that work for me. This is how they learn to manage the things in the near future. So that was also a part of my life during the school time.
And that is very important. I mean, I still cherish, and one of my favorite memory from my school times is the joining the Interact Club. It was another world, and seeing the world from that lens, which we never see otherwise, right? And meeting the people, going to orphanages, going to old age homes. It was such a beautiful memory, and always it left a lasting impact that, I also want to do something
Fun.
to help these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was something that I got from you. So you were also a Rotarian, right, ma'am?
Yes.
You were
Yes.
always continuing to do that outside of the school as well. So what inspired you to do that?
Uh, I mean, Rotarian is also doing the social service. They are into social service, and therefore, I was already a member of Rotary Club of 10 years. So that has inspired me to bring that in the school level also, so that my children are exposed to they should understand the value of their parents once they go to orphanage. They should understand the value of their grandparents once they go to the old age home. And I'm still here in the eyes of my children when they have seen them that how could they leave their grandparents over there. So though it used to be one time visit, but it definitely leaves an impact on the children. So from the Rotary itself, I thought that there are children, those who were slightly hesitant to speak. So I used to bring them on the stage to speak, write, and then speak, even if you cannot be extempore. But you should be able to speak. You should be having that much of confidence, which you should not leave. So that used to be my priority to run these clubs, basically to make leaders. That was, was my dream.
Yeah, and it was very, very beautiful. Like you said, I still remember having tears in our eyes when we used to listen to the stories of the people who were there in the old age homes or the orphanages, and celebrating with them gave us a pleasure, gave us a true, real pleasure of life. Yeah,
So glad.
bringing happiness on their faces. It was very, very beautiful.
Absolutely.
So I'm talking about the top schools in Delhi. Kolachi is a Judge Model School. I mean, I always am proud of my alma mater and all the teachers because that is what has shaped me. So, what is your view on Kolachi? Like you said, you spent 40 years with Kolachi.
Uh, 40 years means my life, I must say. And I always loved Gunachi. But I mean, if we compare our school over a period of time, I have found that now we were losing the extracurricular activities in our school. So
Mhm.
it should be continued. There is more emphasis on academics. So there are schools like you go to modern Barakamba, you will find that they don't bother about the academics much. But you see how smart children are, good orators, confident, right? Maybe good gymnasts, maybe good football players, and maybe the good leaders, students. And
True.
not that there is nothing from our school. We have such good doctors which have come out from our school, architects, and then of course a lot of them good managers, good entrepreneurs. You know that Swati Aarti, those who were not very good in studies, they are the best at it in their life and doing such good business now. So I believe that Pulati is the best for me. Even today, that
And
is my soul, and I love my school. And if anybody praises my school, I am on cloud nine at that time. Otherwise, obviously, our school is in competition with a number of other schools.
obviously,
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 yeah. There are
yeah,
certain
yeah. As
reasons,
always.
which you also must be knowing once you study about the school curriculum. And
Mm.
you come to know there are parents who send their children to hostel, particularly, so that the child becomes more confident and extracurricular should be more. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. That is what when I was trying to figure out a school for my children, and I talked to you as well, and that is where I figured out that, and I went to the school and going back to those lanes and those corridors, it was like, no, I want my children to study in this school only. I cannot let them go anywhere else. But then, I had to take a decision based on the distance and based on other parameters. So I chose another school, but yeah. I mean, I always love my school, and yes, focus on extracurricular activities is definitely very, very important.
We need to do. That is that is the
Yeah.
call of the day today. Vina. That is the call of the day. Because there is so much of competition, scoring, and getting the school's name on the basis of academics is
Mhm.
that I really give faults to the administrators because they also want their schools to their academic career should rise its scale, by getting
Right.
good percentage. Yeah. But I feel a child can score better if his
Hmm.
mind is used in some other activities also equally, even some spare time. I've seen that it was scolding, hey, you come from the dance class, go back there only. You cannot enter the class because you missed my class. I was a gymnast, that's Swati.
Bye-bye.
And when I was in college, I have taken English literature. So my teacher used to come and I used to perform on the ground and he used to say, Sunita, I'm going to teach today. If you will not come, you will miss the class. Come immediately. He used to tell me and I used to wear my cap and then run back to my class, however I am, so that I should not miss her class. And side by side, I have to show my best performance in gymnastics also. So,
True.
I mean, I have to be a good in both uh, the fields where the child learns a lot.
That's true. Balancing, they're learning balancing
Absolutely.
as you do all these things. But
Absolutely.
today I see that, a lot of parents are sending their kids to first of all schools, which are very, very far off. And then after the schools, continuously back to back extracurricular activities. The child come homes only say at 8 o'clock at night. This trend has been on the rise, at least in North India. So, ma'am, what is your take on that?
Uh, there is, as I told you, Beta, ki nowadays parents are so much aware about the schools and they feel proud if they are sitting in a group that they need to boast of the name of the school. Oh, my child is studying in so and so school. So that is one reason. And for that, to get admission in that particular school, they can do anything for it. So this race for going into best possible schools and school with the name, school with the fame, is nowadays very common among the parents. You being a parent now, parent of young daughters. So, I mean, you must have also given this thought that once my child is completed his schooling, I would say, oh, my child is from so and so school. He's taken up his education here. He's taken up his college education from IIT, from IIM. They brand him, and you feel proud also. The parents. So that race is there. I can. It is the truth.
Yeah, that is there. I've seen that race and sitting in that, group of people where you're boasting about your school names. But personally, for me, when I had this criteria very, very clear in my mind that I want a school with less student-teacher ratio so that every child gets attention and
Mhm.
I want extracurricular activities, that is my priority. And then rest of the things will be taken care of. So these were my two main motives. So
True. That is true.
Because I believe a child can learn academics from any school if they are capable, and because teachers are good everywhere. But then if you're getting something extra out of it, then why not?
Nowadays, Swati, one more thing is that when the children are back from school, most of the time if the parents are working and nobody is at home, so there is more of the screen time of the children rather than
True.
playing outside, or it is better that they are doing some activity in the school even if they are tired. They are playing
Of course.
football, they are playing basketball, and they are learning discipline in their life by being in a team, right? And learning another activity, and which is
Yeah.
making their mind and body both stronger rather than sitting in front of the screen. That is another issue nowadays, that children are more exposed to social
And that
media.
is a very important point you've raised, ma'am. For example, if the child is doing sports after school hours or before school hours, it is building that, sportsmanship,
Yeah,
that team spirit, that capability of, that mental and physical resilience. They're building the mental and physical resilience. And
absolutely.
that's very important. Yeah.
And I am
Ma'am,
missing my school, Swati. You know that when I started my school, I started having primary classes. Because the first day when I went, the first 82 batch which passed out, they were in class 8 at that time. When I went in the classroom, they were so damn quiet. So when I came out, their class teacher said, "How was your new PT teacher?" Because I joined as a PT. "How was your new PT teacher?" I said, "What's your PT teacher? We thought she's principal's daughter." And then, next day when I went there, they ragged me like anything. Because I was very young at that time, maybe 20-year-old. So
okay.
I told principal, ma'am, requested her, "Ma'am, please give me the junior class." So junior classes, since today is Teachers' Day, I remember junior classes used to give me so many toffees, chocolates, flowers, which the senior students they just wish
Of
the
course.
teacher, and I miss that now when I left my junior classes. That love for me was there. So principal ma'am used to send me to the new class, new LKG class which used to come. If one child used to cry, rest of them used to cry. They started crying. She said, "Ki for 10, 15 days, Sunita, you remain with them." And I used to tell them stories, make them play some games, and involve them. So my uh, schooling started like that, and it ended up to teaching history in class 11th.
But that is very difficult, right? I mean, handling my two toddlers at home, I feel so tired all the time. But handling so many young children at once, it must be very, very difficult,
It
right?
is easy, Swati. Difficult to handle your own children at home. I fully agree with
Okay.
you. Those two, it is difficult to manage them, but managing the entire class of 50 students is not tough, and that tough as your own children, because they will not remain in discipline, and several times they will ignore you also when you're asking them to do something. So
Hmm.
tough. You have daughters are always they don't listen to
Yeah.
you.
So, ma'am, another question I want to ask, a very relevant question. We all study various subjects in 11th and 12th classes, the senior classes, and then we step out in the colleges, but we are not prepared. That, we took some subject, but we are still not aware on what was it something that we should have taken, or we should have taken something else. So that career coaching or career counseling, I feel it is still missing today, because when I talk to the young college students these days, they're also blank sometimes, that we don't know what to do even after joining the colleges, or when even after they've graduated from colleges, they don't know what to do. So that gap has always been there.
You're right, Vita. But now I have found that in the schools also, uh, I mean, in the past I remember. that there were career counseling in our school. So we used to
Okay.
call some experts, and they told children that if for class 10th itself, what subjects they need to choose and what are the career options in those particular subjects, like in humanities, in commerce, and in sciences. And they were being totally explained to the children, and sometimes their parents were also there for them.
Okay.
So, career counseling has already introduced in the schools, and maybe not at your time, but now we have found that they have introduced it, and we are also, in fact, helping children that if they will opt for these subjects, the subject teacher, then what will be their career options in future, and how can they go for law or something.
Mhm.
Just keep telling them the different streams these children can catch. And believe it, today I think we met on the retirement of a teacher, few new teachers. And there were three teachers who were my students. Kulachi itself. They were my students in Kulachi and now they become social science teachers. So that means I'm so happy that there is some inspiration which brought them to teach. So, yeah, all these doors should be explored. And in fact, the career counseling should be done in the school. There was a time that children used to rush to Delhi University. But now I believe that things are changing day by day. And there are many other universities, is there IP universities there. There are many more universities which have brought up, and people are going in those universities. And there is campus placement also with us. You will find that the children are getting jobs. They are being placed on the college. Things
True.
are changing over a period of time.
Of course, that is true. Things are changing, but if I feel the teachers back then when we were in schools, it was wonderful, and there was the teachers had that sense that we could see them and we could immediately get that respect for them, like for you, like for Call Ma'am, Ridla Ma'am, um, Pamidata Ma'am. It was instantly coming from inside us, right?
They
So
are
yeah.
all my mentors, I must say, Datta ma'am and Paul ma'am and Kumar ma'am. So they always remain my mentors. I must say that they've always encouraged us to get involved. We were taking all the core sections and get involved in all those extracurricular activities side by side. We were managing all these things because of them, because of their support and our
I
support.
remember, yeah. Because I remember, Kumar ma'am, when we went to Raila, the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, Kumar ma'am asked me to write an article on that and submit it for the school, for Arikriti. So it was, she always encouraged me to write about your stories, and it was so beautiful. I remember Call ma'am inspiring me. One reason I started the podcast, I participated in a news reading competition in fifth class, and call ma'am came to me and said, Swati, growing up, you should become a journalist. So that stayed in my mind, although I didn't, realize it earlier. And somehow when I was starting that podcast, that line came to my mind. So, all those inspirations are always there.
Always, Beta. And Swati, I have seen in my teaching experiences that some of my monitors were so good, the girl monitors also, so strong, to handle the boys as well. Hey, you will not go outside, stand there, put your hands up. Before I used to tell them that you are going to be a police officer, definitely, or you must go in army. So we can we carve out your careers, you know. So I would say there is no greater joy for a teacher than seeing their students thrive and succeed in their careers like you. You know,
Absolutely.
you would see that a teacher is a mentor, a teacher is a guide, a teacher. finds out the skill in a child that he is not good to study, but he's the best sports person. He's a good orator. You know,
True.
that's how we have to take out the skill and we have to sort it out and tell them that is how you have been sorted to become a podcaster. That is how I'm so happy to see you also growing, Vita. It's really my pleasure. It's really pleasure.
Thank you, ma'am. And I think teaching is the noblest profession and anyone could get into because shaping young minds and young lives is very, very important. So, what would be your last, advice or takeaway for all the parents, students, and aspiring teachers?
I believe that we must not force children to do what the parents want to do. We must try to find out what is there in the mind of the child, and if he's good in dancing, if he's a good singer, if he's a good player, so we should support the child, right? Mark is not the only criteria to judge a child. There should not be any comparisons, which I always used to tell the parents. And I remember that children used to bring their parents to me first. तो दे वुड से कि अभी चलो, अभी चलते हैं मैथ्स टीचर के पास, साइंस टीचर के पास, अभी चलते हैं. So I always feel that we must encourage the children to do what they feel joy in, right? So let them score an average percentage, but you would see that in Delhi University, a good dancer, a good player, right, a good orator, good writer can get admission with lesser percentage also.
True.
Your skills needs to be taken care. That's what I feel. So it's a pleasure today to talk to you. And thanks for having me on the show and for your such insightful questions. Mm, I'm full of joy today. I can't tell you the contentment you have. Swati, you children are our asset, right? If we see our daughters, if we see our children, and having the same respect for their teachers, still,
True.
that's what we have recovered everything with. So, so happy. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Talking to you just doesn't make me feel as, I've passed school and, you taught me around 15, 20 years back. It still feels the same that, I'm still in the school talking to the same ma'am. It is still the same vibe, still the same aura, and still very, very wonderful.
It's a pleasure, baby. It's a pleasure. And you know that this is something where I felt so confident today. What the heck? What actually बच्चा है? So there are so many things we shared together, you know. Therefore, thank you so much for having me on your
Thank
show.
you, ma'am. And always, ask you questions. मुझे जब अपने बच्चों का एडमिशन कराया था, I called you. I called Vandita ma'am. I called a few teachers because मुझे पता है that, my teachers are always there to guide me even now.
Thank you, thank
So
you,
thank you, ma'am. Have a good day. Happy
baby.
Teachers Day.
Thank you, and happy Teachers' Day to all the teachers. Thanks. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am.